Okay, so we got the Dalet and Beis, and hopefully get a chance to do Hey and Aleph. The next few blocks might move a little faster, maybe around the a week, and I guess we'll see the pace. But the Gemara have been trying to figure out who is the Shita that doesn't require Dalet. We've been talking about Kir v'Hanacha, picking things up, putting them down for Otzah. So the Gemara assumes, based on the Mishnah, that if you put it into the hand of the Baal Bayis, the hand of the Ani, so that hand is obviously not Dal by Dalet Amos. So who doesn't require? Who's that Shita? So the Gemara has been busy looking around different brises. And one suggestion, the Gemara, it's a fleeting suggestion, it comes and goes, but the Gemara has this suggestion in Dalet and Beis that perhaps it's the Shita of Rebbe with regards to this tree. Let's take a look at that inside. The Gemara says in Dalet and Beis, first wide line down, the Gemara says, Rebbe Detanya Zarak V'Noch Al Gabi Ziz Kolshu. Let's say he throws an item and it rests on a ziz. The ziz is a little ledge or something. Kolshu, not Dal by Dal, a small little ledge. She's a good aim. He throws it, it lands mamash on the ziz. Rebbe's mechayiv, Chachamim poter. Rebbe says you're chayiv in that case, and Chachamim say you're poter. So why it's a kolshu? Must be that Rebbe doesn't require a dal by dal. The kolshu is sufficient. Gemara says no. That's a whole other discussion. Hasam kedabayin l'meim l'kamon. That whole discussion is talking about kedabayi. The Rabbi hacha be'ilan ha'omed v'rishus hayachid v'nofo no tilishus rabbin. We're talking about a case where there's a tree. The tree is in rishus hayachid. It's in a private domain, and the nofo, the branches, are now hanging into rishus rabbin. The zark v'nach hanofo, and then the guy throws an item, it lands on the branch. So is the branch considered Rishus Hayachid or Rishus Rabbin? Technically, the branch is a Rishus Rabbin. It's hanging over Rishus Rabbin, but the roots, the trunk, is Rishus Hayachid. So which one is it? So the Gemara says, Rebbe holds that Shadei Nofo Basa Ikaro. You should throw the branch after the tree. That's what it literally means. So what does that mean? And therefore what? So if you look at Rashi writes, Shadei Nofo Basa Ikaro, V'havi Kimunach B'Rishus Harabim, Al makom dal de'ikr mechashev le'elanof. So let's understand the case again. The situation is where the base of the tree, the ikr of the tree, the trunk, is in the rishus hayachid, and the nof, the branch, is rishus rabim. So now you throw it; it's on the branch. So it's in rishus rabim area. So what does it mean we're throwing the branch after the ikr? It's going there. So does that mean it's going to go into Rishus Hayachid like the tree? Or does it stay Rishus Rabbin where the branch is? That's the question. So one would think that when you say that the branch goes after the tree, the whole thing should be considered inside Rishus Hayachid. That's what you would have thought. Mm-hmm. And just like the ikr of the tree, the base in Rishus Hayachid has dal by daled, now this object is considered as if it's in Rishus Hayachid, but Rashi doesn't say that. Rashi actually says, have a kimunach b'Rishus Harabim. Since it's in the airspace of Rishus Rabbin, it actually has a din of Rishus Rabbin, but what it means, the ikr, the ground of the tree is dal by daled, so we're taking the dal by daled, the measurements, applying the measurements to the object, but in terms of the Rishus, it actually still remains outside Rishus Rabbin.
You want that wrong.
Oh, that's fine, okay, we're not here to make you feel bad. We're just trying to learn this. But that's the understanding, right? So, it's very interesting. So it's standing in Rishus Rabbim, and we're just carrying over the dal by dal measurement, but still it's Rishus Rabbim, which is the technical place where it is. Fine. If you look at Tosas, we'll say this outside. If you had a chance to see a grape, I don't want to lose anyone who are reading it through right now. Tosas says no. Tosas says we view the entire branch as if it's actually Rishus Rabbim. Sorry, Rishus Hayachid. So again, just make sure the case is clear. Tree is Rishus Hayachid, branch is Rishus Rabbim. The ball, let's say, lands on the branch, we view everything as if it's in Rishus Hayachid, which is the Pashup Shad of the Gemara. But Rashi doesn't want to say that. Rashi says, we only view the Dal by Daled going there, but it still stays in Rishus Rabbin. That's the machlokas, Rashi tells us. Okay, fine, clear. So the question is, what is the machlokas between Rashi and Tosas? Now to add on to that understanding of Rashi Tosas, again, the question really is on Rashi as to why does Rashi still think, if the Gemara says the nofo zark basar ikaro, that the branch follows the tree trunk, so how come we don't say it goes to Rishus Hayachid? How come it stays in Rishus Rabbin? It's really a question in Rashi. Adding to this question, Rav Soloveitchik points out in the Sefer HaRekadem, if you look in the Gemaras in Makos, I'm not sure if you had a chance to see it, the Gemara Makos talks about the case of Ir Miklat and Meiser. So I don't have the Gemara in front of me, that's fine. The Gemara that says fine. The Gemara says the whole situation, same thing. Let's say a guy's running away. He's a hareg, he's a Rotzeach, B'shogeg. He murdered accidentally. He goes to Ir Miklat. He goes to one of the Ir Miklat for safety. So let's say he's hiding under the branch, but the tree is in Ir Miklat. So what's the din? Or vice versa. Let's say the tree is outside, but the branch is in Ir Miklat. And he's hiding under the branch. So do you go based on the tree? Do you go based on... So the Gemara there says, and also similar by Meiser. Meiser, when it comes to Meiser Sheni, so the farmer brings Meiser Sheni, he separates his food. So I'll explain the basic seder. The farmer has food. He has grapes, let's say. Grapes, everybody agrees is deraisa. Chiv to separate shumas and maisus. Dagan as well. Olives too. Those three, everyone agrees is deraisa. So he takes grapes, he gives it to the Kohen, he gives shuma to the Kohen. He gives 100 grapes, let's say. So 150th, he gives 2 grapes to his Kohen, friend. Then he has 98 left. He has Meiser Rishon. He gives 2 Levi. So 98, 10% of that is around 9.8. So he gives 9, maybe 10 rounds up. He gives 10 to the Levi. He's got now 88 left. So 10% of that is 8.8. So he gives around 9 of those. This Meiser Sheni. So Meiser Sheni, what does he do Meiser Sheni? The farmer takes it to Yerushalayim and eats it in Yerushalayim. He can't eat outside. Outside he's allowed to redeem it for money. Once you go in, you can't redeem it anymore. So inside Yerushalayim you eat, you can't redeem. Outside the walls, you could redeem, but you can't eat. Those are the basic halachas. So the Gemara says that when it comes to the halachas of Ir Miklat and Meiser Sheni, Yerushalayim, we say nofo is basi ikaro, that the branch follows wherever the tree trunk is. The tree trunk is the ikar. If it's inside the city, that's inside the city. Even though technically the Rotzeach's outside, but if he's under the branches, it's kilo he's inside the Ir Miklat. And same thing, Meiser Sheni. The moment the farmer walks under the branch, that's stemming from the Yerushalayim, he can't sell it, and he's allowed to eat it. Those are the basic halachas. So ask for Soloveitchik, so how come when it comes to Meiser Sheni and Ir Miklat, we view the branch as being entirely inside, but when it comes to Rishus HaYachid, we don't. We view the branch as still being Rishus HaRabim. We just carry the Dalad by Dalad Amos halacha, but still Rishus HaRabim. It's still outside, separate from the Ikar. That's the shayla. So he says a very, very, very important yisod when it comes to the definition of Rishus HaYachid, which is, we're learning Sigz Hotzah. We haven't touched yet upon the Rishuyos yet. We spoke about it a little bit, but not the lumdus of it. We spoke a lot about Hotzah, Kira Anacha, being Mavir, being Poshet, and Zorek. Now we're going to talk about Rishuyos. There are 4 Rishuyos. There's 2 Rishuyos, Midiraisa, Rishus HaYachid, Rishus HaRabim, and there's 2 Midirbanan, Malkum Patur, and Karmis. So the basic definitions of Rishus HaYachid, we'll do Rishus HaRabim maybe next week, we'll do that a little bit. That comes up Payment Base a little bit. Rishus HaYachid, you need to have 4 walls, typically. You need to have a dalad by dalad of area and 10 tvachim walls. Those walls will come in 3 different ways. Either you could have just regular walls, or you could have a pit where the walls are the walls of the pit, or you could have a mound where the walls are actually beneath the Rishus HaYachid. It's a plateau, but we view the walls building up the plateau as going all the way up. So there's 3 ways to have Rishus HaYachid. Now, so Rav Soloveitchik explains that what's the machlokas here? So he says when it comes to Ir Miklat, when it comes to Meiser Sheni, all we care is about what's a makom, what's a place, what's a location. That's all we need. And so long as we could say that the nof, the branch follows the ikar, that's called the makom. That's called the Yerushalayim. That's called the Ir Miklat. When it comes to the halachas of Rishus HaYachid, you need a makom yehei mukaf mechitzos. The walls are essential to the definition of Rishus HaYachid, and you don't have that here. Meaning by Yerushalayim, yes, there are chomos Yerushalayim, there are walls, but the walls aren't really significant to the Yerushalayim Kedusha. So if I have a branch outside that drags me to the inside, halach, that's good enough. I just need to have a connection to the makom. So the makom of the branch is connected to where the roots are. That's the makom. It overgrows. When it comes to Rishus HaYachid, according to Rashi, you need a makom that's mukaf mchitzos, that's surrounded by walls. That's the definition. The walls are not secondary. The walls are part of the definition. So again, I think you'll appreciate this a little bit better in just a moment from Machlokas Rishonim in Sukkah. But you need the walls are essential, as opposed to Tosos here. The walls are not essential to Rishus HaYachid. He was very okay saying that the branch in Hilchos Shabbos follows the tree trunk. even though it's not surrounded by walls, this area, but we don't care about the walls. The walls are secondary in Rishus Yachid. So the question is, how essential are the mechitzas to the Rishus Yachid? That's the shayla. Rashi says they are essential, and without them, it's not Rishus Yachid. That's why the branches in Rishus Yachid. And Tosfos says, no, it's not really essential to it. You don't have to have mukaf mechitzah. I'll explain what this role of walls are in just a second for Tosfos, but that's the machlokes. How essential are the walls to Rishus Yachid? Now let's move to a machlokes rishonim in Sukkah. If you had the sheets in front of you, you appreciate it more. I apologize, but no. But I'll hopefully make it clear. There's a Gemara in Sukkah. It also comes up in Shabbos. We'll see this in a couple blot from today. But let's say you have a Sukkah. The Sukkah is only 9 tvachim high. Sukkah has to be 10 tvachim to be kosher. So what can you do? You're allowed to dig deeper a tefach to now have 10 tvachim. But that hole has to be 3 tvachim close to the walls. Let's say this is a sukkah, man. Let's say it's only 9 tvachim. I build a pit here that's 4 by 4. It's not good because it's too far from the walls. It's got to be 3 tvachim close to the walls as well. And then it's good. But if it's too far, even though it's 4 by 4 in its own right, if it's more than 3 tvachim, we don't allow it to work. Why not? How come by Shabbos, the halacha actually is good? Shabbos, if you have the same case, you dig a dal by dal tvachim hole in the middle, even though it's far from the wall, that actually would create a Rishus Yachid. Now you got 10 tvachim in the middle. What's the difference? So listen to the language of Tosfos and Sukkah. Tosfos says, "Vim Tomar Perakam the Shabbos Gavi Bayis Shein Tocha Asar." If the house the inside of the house rather is not 10 tvachim, Chakak Ba you dig Lashlim Al Asar to complete 10 tvachim high. Amaylo Mechalik. Why do we have the distinction if it's close to 3 tvachim or not? Zak Tosfos Yishlomar de Lo Dami Rishus Shabbos. Shulam Noah Rega Rabim L'Sukkah to be in Mechitzos Muflas. What's the difference? By Sukkah, you need there to be a connection between the walls, the defanos, and the schach. There has to be a strong bind between the two. The defanos and the schach have to be connected with each other, close enough to each other. That's a given by Sukkah. Shabbos, the role of the walls is simply limnoa be'rabim, to prevent the rabim from coming. It's very external looking, outside looking. It's not about creating Rishus Yachid on the inside. It's somehow blocking them from the outside. If Rishus Rabbim can walk through, they're going to then just nullify the entire essence of Rishus Yachid. But again, Rishus Yachid doesn't need the walls. The walls are to stop Rishus Rabbim from coming in. That's according to Tosfos. Now the Ritva says differently. Ritva here in Dalam and Beis and Sukkah. See? There's the line I need. Where do you have it? Should I have you read it?
This is Dalam Aleph.
Oh, Dalam, it could be Dalam Aleph, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Tosfos.
What do your mask they put on?
I don't see.
None, okay. I'm not finding this. On the top of it doesn't say Libra Maskell?
Oh, good question.
Give me where am I looking for? I can't find the right place here.
Hikshu Tosfos, Mahada Amrina Berakama.
Tosfos. I don't know. I can't find this, guys. Where are the sheets? what does he say? If you don't mind reading to me.
והקשו בתוספות מהד האמרינו בהרקמה ובמסכת שבת בית שאין בתוכו עשרה וקירויו משלימו על גגו מותר וקלת בכול בתוכו.
That's all?
No, I just don't know if I'm pausing the place.
I got it. Here we go. Here, I got it.
Thank you.
The Hachagavi Sukkah Shemitzvasa b'defanos. Here by Sukkah, the mitzvah by the walls. Fine. Hatzam by Shabbos, kol heicha sheyesh rishus arba mukaf mechitzas lobai. Says the Ritva, I also don't care about the walls being close to the by Shabbos to the hole, but he defined it very subtly. Only if you're sensitive to this, we pick up on this. You need that the rishus yachid be mukaf, be surrounded. I mean, the role of the wall for Tosfos is to prevent the outside. The role of the walls for the Ritva is to create this mukaf, this area that's surrounded and protected on the inside. So according to the Ritva, so he holds like Rashi, Rav Soloveitchik understanding Rashi, that the walls create a Rishus HaYachid. It makes it muka, makes it surrounded, makes it protected. While Tosfos is l'shitaso in Shabbos and Sukkah that you don't need walls really. The purpose of walls by Rishus HaYachid in general is just simply to be monei the rabbin from the outside, but it doesn't create and define what a Rishus HaYachid is. That's the idea. That's the yisod. It's a very important yisod when it comes to Hilchos Shabbos Rishus HaYachid. Everyone's good?
It's like not an agav, like the walls protect them from the area, but it has to be that way in order for there to be a Rishus HaYachid, right? So
No, the question conceptually, what is the function of the walls? It's obviously doing both. It prevents the rabbim and it also creates an area that's surrounded. But what is the definition of it? What is the purpose of it? Is it to be moneh the rabbim, or is it to create a Rishus HaYachid that's mukaf? Fine. That is the first point. One last point here. A different sugya. I don't have the Rashba here. I'll say this outside. Okay, see if I remember. Okay, there's a discussion that we've been discussing. Rishus HaRabbim. Rishus HaRabbim. How high is Rishus HaRabbim? Yeah, I think I got it. Well, I'll let you know. Rishus HaRabbim only goes 10 tvachim high, right? Above 10 tvachim, not Rishus HaRabbim anymore. We saw already that if a person's walking, I'm taller than 10 tvachim. I'm holding something like this. This is 10 tvachim. The table's 10 tvachim. I'm walking. That is going to be considered a violation, even though the object is actually above Rishus HaRabbim. But that's the din we learned from the Mishkan. That we learned from the carrying of the Levim were carrying. So of Bnei Kas, Shkach, thank you. So they were carrying above 10 tvachim. That's the din. So then the Rashba says that so a person's carrying, but let's say, what's the halach of a person takes an object and gives it to somebody else above 10 tvachim? Is that also going to be us or not? That's the shayla. So the Rashba says that just like you have, if I carry something over 10 tvachim, it's kilutz on the ground the whole time. So if I pass it to somebody else, even though it's above 10 tvachim, that too is going to be a violation of Hotzah, even though it's above 10 tvachim. That's the din. That's what the Rashba quotes, such a shita. And the Rashba doesn't like the shita. The Rashba says, how could you compare the two? Eino nir beinai. Mikama tamin. But the first reason is the ikar right now. We're going to focus on it. Number one is, hamotzi l'malaf. A guy is motzi, which means if I'm carrying from Rishus HaRabbim to Rishus HaYachid, even though I'm above 10 tvachim, or if I'm walking in Rishus HaRabbim for Dal Amos, my object is above 10 tvachim, that you're chayv. Everybody agrees you're chayv. Why? Because that's learned out from the carrying of B'nai Kas. But that din is only true when it comes to an adam echad, one person. If I'm doing the whole thing by myself, if I'm carrying it, mavir dal amos b'rishus rabim, or I'm being motzi, I'm doing everything. That's all we can learn from B'nai Kas. But says the Rashba, the moment I hand it to somebody else, that can't be learned. That halacha is not true. And he says, reading just the language here, because we learn from B'nai Kas. But if you're passing it to somebody else, that doesn't apply anymore. That's a machlokas. So what's the din here? What's the shayla? What's the machlokas between these 2 days? So Pasha Pshat here is, how do you learn the Gzeres HaKasef? When the Torah says that B'nai Kas carry above 10 tvachim, is that learning only to Adam Echad, or learning to 2 people? Like, how do you learn? Just in terms of the drasha. If only I'm carrying by myself, or even I pass it to somebody else above 10 tvachim, that's Pashup Shai, I think. There's a saver called Meital, which I've quoted before. He takes more of a lamdish approach to this. He says, what exactly is the din of when a person is carrying something by himself? Do we view that as if it's attached to the ground? When I'm walking, it's on the ground. Is that the object's on the ground, which means it's all below 10 tvachim? Does that mean, therefore, anytime it's on a person, it just means it's attached, the person's attached to the ground, so then the object's attached to the ground, so whether I'm carrying it, whether I'm giving it to somebody else, he's a person who's attached to the ground. Is that the din of it? In which case, it shouldn't make a difference. It should be chayv in all cases. Or he takes a different approach. Maybe it's a din in akira and hanacha. It's not a din of the person being attached to the ground. the din about kir and hanacha. So what does that mean? So it's a little tricky, the lumdus here, but maybe we'll talk about it, see if it makes sense a little bit. He says, when the object stays, let's say, if I'm holding it the whole time, so it becomes attached to my body, so when I move, it moves with me. The makom is the ground. It's just part of me. The moment I put it onto somebody else, that's no longer considered a proper hanacha. Because once I transfer it, it shows somehow it's not really attached to me anymore. If it's attached to me, so when I'm walking, I'm stopping, I'm going, I'm stopping, that's all, this is the kira and that's the hanacha. The moment I transfer it to somebody else, that indicates that's not really part of me. I'm giving it to somebody else. And once it's somebody else, you can't view the makom as an extension of myself. Now, I don't know if he even quite says that. It's a little bit confusing. But you try taking more of a lumdish approach to it, whether to din, again, if every body is connected to the ground, like the object's connected to the ground, or somehow it's a chisaron, it's somehow lacking in the hanacha element of it. Only it's considered hanacha and it stays in the same place that I'm holding it. The moment you put somewhere else, that's somehow a chisaron in the chayvet. As I'm saying this, I'm not really appreciating what I'm saying, to be honest, and I thought I had it clear before, but we'll hold off. I guess we'll go back to my original mahalach. Simply there's a machlokes of what the gzeres hakasuv was, whether it's only to one person or two people. But either way, we'll stop here. But hopefully that the first whole discussion was very, very essential, though, in terms of understanding the rishuyos of how much is the mechitza around Rosh Hashanah in terms of defining the places of makom mukaf, where it's really being moneh the rabbin, but it's not so essential to the definition of Rosh Hashanah. So Mitzvah Hashem, next week we're going to go weiter. We're going to continue through Hey Amud Beis, and there's just a number of just short hours we're going to go through. There's no real big sugas next week's daf Amud, but we'll go through various hours. Mitzvah Hashem.